Joining us now to discuss the issue is Southern California criminal defense attorney Lauren Johnson Norris. Thank you, Lauren, for joining us. How serious is it legally that the full grand jury never saw the final version of the indictment? Could it cost the DOJ this case?
It very well might. Instead of conducting that new vote, the prosecutor only had the foreperson and the deputy foreperson sign the indictment, and that is not what the law allows. It's not just a formality. That's why the judge called this a very serious irregularity and said that it could rise to the level of government misconduct because it bypasses the grand jury's constitutional role as a check on their prosecutorial power. So it is a huge issue.
Well, the Justice Department is dismissing the revelation, saying that the grand jury was presented with the 2 counts on which it voted and returned an indictment on those 2 counts, which shows the case need not be dismissed. Your thoughts on how the judge may react to that?
Yeah, the earlier vote doesn't fix things because the grand jury voted on a different document, which was the 3-count version. The law treats the indictment like a contract. You can't change it after the vote, and that's why it's not a technicality. It goes to the heart of whether Comey was lawfully charged. So the new earlier version doesn't transfer to the newer version, and they must vote again on the updated document.
Does this kind of irregularity typically lead to dismissal, in your opinion?
I think in this case it will. This is an incredibly unusual irregularity that we don't tend to see. Now, the government is in a really difficult position because this type of defect didn't pause their statute of limitations either. So if the case is dismissed, we know the case is over.
Do grand jury errors like this happen very often?
This is incredibly unusual. I don't want to attribute it only to the inexperience of the prosecutor. I don't know exactly what was going on here, but this is not something that we see every day.
Do you see potential consequences for the prosecution?
Well, the consequence is that the indictment will be dismissed. And once it's dismissed, we know it's outside of the 5-year statute of limitations because that deadline is already expired. So whether it's dismissed without prejudice, it still is beyond the statute of limitations. If it's dismissed with prejudice, that really sends a strong message that this was all done really in a very difficult and really unacceptable way.
Yeah, something to watch in the coming days. Criminal defense attorney Lauren Johnson Norris, we really appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.